Well, hello everybody and welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I am so happy you stopped by. So it's December and you know what that means, holiday baking season. No, I'm not gonna lie. A lot of my recipes this month are gonna be containing sugar, including this one. Today, I'm gonna be making for you a chocolate espresso pound cake. It is so rich, moist, dense, and delicious. Perfect with a cup of coffee. It's gonna have a chocolate ganache on top, and I really think you're gonna like it. So let's get baking. Here are the ingredients that you're going to need for your cake. We're gonna need some buttermilk mixed with some espresso powder, some softened room temperature butter, some cocoa. Make sure you use the Dutch processed cocoa. I find it's a better chocolatey taste. Some sugar, some flour, some salt, baking powder, vanilla, brown sugar, and some eggs. Now we're gonna start by putting in our room temperature unsalted butter. Now if you're using salted butter, you can reduce the salt to a half a teaspoon. But I like to use unsalted butter. And now I'm putting in my granulated sugar and my brown sugar. And we are just going to mix that up. Now it's gonna take anywhere from 2 to 3 minutes, but we want it to be really light and fluffy. And now we're gonna add in our eggs. I already put in 2 eggs and beat it for about another minute. And then I'm adding my other 3 eggs here. And we are also gonna mix that for another minute or 2. The key is to get it really light and fluffy. You want it super smooth. And when it's done, see how light and airy that is? And now I'm adding in my cocoa powder. And we're gonna mix that up. And now be careful when you're mixing because it can create a little bit of a cocoa dust storm. So don't put it on too high at the beginning. See it flying around there? And now what we're gonna do is add in 1 cup of our flour and half of our espresso buttermilk mixture. You don't wanna add everything at once because it's not gonna mix together real well and it's gonna be a lot more difficult. So just mix that in, and now we're adding in our other half of the flour. And I'm adding in my salt, my 1 teaspoon of salt, and my baking powder, which was sticking to the inside of my cup. And the rest of our liquid. And you're just gonna beat that for about another minute so everything is nicely incorporated, and don't forget to scrape down the side of your bowl. Now this part is totally optional, but I like to add in half a cup of the mini semi-sweet chocolate chips. Just gives it even a little bit more chocolatey taste. Now it's super important that you grease your bundt pan really well. I'm gonna show you why in the next minute or so. I normally use Baker's Joy, which always works for me, but for some reason it didn't quite work this time. I would suggest buttering your pan and dusting it with cocoa powder just to make sure that it's not gonna stick. Now, as you see, I also made a little mini cake, so if you wanna make them into individual cakes, you can definitely do that. My oven's preheated at 325 and we're gonna bake it for an hour or until a toothpick inserted comes out clean. Now let's make our chocolate ganache. We have some heavy cream, some butter, and some espresso powder heating until it's just warm. And now I'm gonna dump it over my semi-sweet chocolate that I have in a bowl. Let it sit there for about 30 seconds, and then it's all gonna melt into this lovely liquidy chocolate. Now it looks really thin here, but what you're gonna do is you're gonna place it in the refrigerator for about 30 minutes, and it's gonna get this nice fudgy consistency. It was so good, you guys. All right, so here's the cake. I told you it's stuck. So see, it's got some little craters there, but you know, this is the reality. I just want to show you guys not everything comes out perfect. But this chocolate ganache is going to cover a multitude of sins. Once we pour it over, it's going to pretty much cover up all the boo-boos. And the little divots are even going to have extra ganache. So, you know, you can't go wrong with that. Now, if you don't want to use ganache, feel free to use any icing or frosting that's your favorite that you think would go well with chocolate. But I really think this ganache is perfect for this cake. And it's gonna take a little while to dry. I would say 4 to 6 hours. So don't try to cover it up until the ganache is completely dry. Now I like to add some festive sprinkles depending on what holiday it is. Since it's Christmas time, I'm adding these Christmas sprinkles, but Halloween, you could do Halloween, Easter, and just use the appropriate sprinkles. And there you have it. I really hope you guys are going to try this. It's fudgy. It's got the perfect amount of espresso taste, super moist. You can always add some ice cream to go with it. So thanks for watching, and we will see you guys on the next episode. Bye, everybody.